This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
A little library burns in the Bevo Mill area of South St. Louis. Tonight, how the woman behind the initiative is restacking. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. Little free libraries placed all around our region have a goal of getting young people and adults to read. Now, one woman who lost hers to a fire tells 5 on your side's Travis Cummings, while she's devastated, she's not defeated.
In the middle of this little park in the heart of Bevo Mill usually sits a little bookcase.
And this was my free little library that I've had for about 10 years, as you can tell. All that's left is the pole.
Last week, Brenda Morrison ran across this picture on Facebook, her little library in ruins.
You know, free books. What's the logic behind burning down a free little library? I don't see one.
Morrison's been making a difference in the lives of hundreds for 10 years. Her case is one of many across the neighborhood and the country to inspire readers and expand access to literature.
I just put a post on Facebook and say I need some children's books, and pretty soon my porch is full of them.
It's clear Morrison's mission is working.
I come once a week and the cabinet's empty, so someone is reading out there, and that's my goal. I have 2 kids and I always advocated reading. And there's a school right across the street, so I'm hoping a lot of those kids are taking the books.
Morrison says she didn't report the vandalism, but is already equipped to turn to a new chapter.
Oh, I've had so many people support me on Facebook saying, what do you need? You need money, you need us to help build you a cabinet, I've got books to give you.
A clear indication her little story is not over.
Came and put a sign up yesterday between tears saying, whoever lit the match, we in Bevo want you to know the little library's coming back.
Travis Cummings, 5 on your side.
While Morrison didn't report the incident, we did reach out to the St. Louis Fire Department to see if anyone else did. We have not yet heard back. Right now, the major case squad investigating a death in Cahokia Heights. Police say 19-year-old Daniel L. Nunn was found dead Saturday. Washington Park police say Nunn had previously been reported missing. He was found dead near Melvin Drive and Lazarchuk Drive in Cahokia Heights. We're working to find out more, but an investigation into what happened to the missing teen is underway. If you know anything about this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at that number on your screen, 866-371-TIPS. Right now, we are working to learn more about a deadly barn collapse in Monroe County. Police tell us the man killed is a worker from Wildwood, Missouri. He was part of a crew working to tear down the barn in Waterloo when part of it collapsed. Another worker was injured and taken to the hospital. We're still working to learn the identity of the man killed. The person killed in a fire in East St. Louis has been identified. The St. Clair County coroner says 19-year-old Isaiah Parker was found inside a home on North 25th Street just 2 days ago. The fire started around 3:30 a.m. on Friday. A neighbor directly across the street captured Ring doorbell footage as it happened. Fire officials say the home was vacant but often had squatters. Right now, the cause of the fire is still unknown. This week, the family of Justin Brooks will lay him to rest. He's the teen that was stabbed and killed in a fight after school in Jennings. A 15-year-old is in custody and charged with second-degree murder. Justin was killed less than 2 weeks ago. He was just 14 years old. His visitation and funeral is scheduled for Tuesday, March 26th at the Celestial Temple of Peace Church. And we also have an update now on the teen who was critically injured earlier this month in an after-school fight. Kaylee Gaines' mom updated her GoFundMe page saying the teenager is no longer in the ICU and is breathing on her own. The Hazelwood East High School student has been in the hospital for weeks recovering from critical head injuries. Until Friday, Kaylee had been unconscious for weeks after the fight. A 15-year-old remains in juvenile custody on assault charges. Tomorrow, jury selection begins for a trial against a man charged in the murder of a St. Charles woman. In March of 2023, Joseph DeJoy was arrested in connection to the death of Jackie Mitchell. Mitchell disappeared last March. She was missing for days before police discovered her body in the bedroom of DeJoy's Maryland Heights apartment. Police say Mitchell and DeJoy were acquaintances. Let's head over now to Weather First meteorologist Gary Frank for a look at this week's forecast and the watchword is windy.
Yeah, windy, as it's a weather alert day. And, you know, we dealt with the wind today. It's not all that bad. It did help us warm up to some degree. In fact, that it was sunny felt pretty nice. But overall, the next 36 hours are going to get even windier, believe it or not. So as we look outside from Weldon Spring to Highland, we'll continue to see dry conditions. The clouds have stayed away from us, although they'll thicken up. And it's this system off to the southwest, which is providing rain and storms for some, but it'll eventually work its way closer to us. Right now, clouds still starting to roll in, thicken in Rolla and Gasconade County, but our wind speeds and gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour right now. And we've seen that between 30 and 35 mile an hour wind gusts. It's going to continue to increase. Temperatures still on the mild side as we're warming up into the 60s. 65 degrees, the south-southeast breeze consistently at 21 miles an hour, but we've also seen a wind advisory been in place from 7 to 7 on Monday. And that's why it's a weather alert day as we continue to see that potential for 45 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts at times. And this is not so much the rain aspect of it, but when it starts to rain and we start to see the soil loosen up and that wind blowing, things are going to be maybe some isolated power outages, some tree damage. So we'll take a look at that and also talk about our best chance for rain and when it arrives for your Monday.
When you think of designer Lilly Pulitzer, you think of bright colors and big patterns. But what you probably didn't know is that there's a direct tie between this famous designer and St. Louis. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay has more on this serendipitous story as we celebrate Women's History Month.
Most of us have heard the name Lilly Pulitzer and are familiar with her iconic designs. But have you ever heard the name Susie Zuzak? Probably not. Well, thanks to one St. Louis mom, more of us are going to know that name.
This is a beautiful story that is steeped in American fashion heritage.
For the past 17 years, Becky Smith has devoted her time to saving the legacy of a woman she spontaneously met in Key West.
I have always shared with my children that the truth matters and that history matters so that we can do better.
The St. Louis mom of 4 and an artist named Susie Zuzak's paths crossed back in 2007.
This is Wildness by Zuzak, copyright Key West Handprint Fabrics.
It was during that trip that Smith learned Zuzak was the woman who inspired and created thousands of designs for Lilly Pulitzer in the early parts of her career.
Susie had worked every day for a quarter of a century, sitting on the second floor of the Key West Handprint Art Studio, creating all of the designs of my childhood, basically. And I was just blown away.
But all of those recognizable designs Susie created was as a contracted artist and under the radar.
I had to ask myself this question. Do I help Susie save her legacy and her oeuvre, or do I turn a blind eye?
Turning a blind eye was the exact opposite thing Smith decided to do. Instead, she and a group of investors bought Zuzak's archive of art, cataloged it, and worked with places like the Smithsonian Design Museum to bring Susie's story to life.
What does great art do? It evokes conversation. And so now people can then start telling Susie's story.
A story of an incredibly talented woman, decades later finally being brought to the forefront, all thanks to one St. Louis mom.
We're able to save it all for future generations to enjoy. And it is a feel-good story.
As for what's next for shining light on Susie Zuzak's designs, Smith says they're in conversations right now with some companies to start collaborating. To learn more about Zuzak's story and the work Smith is doing, head to our website, ksdk.com, and look under the As Seen on TV section.
Addressing food deserts in Illinois, how farmers and lawmakers hope to get food to communities in need. A restaurant serving Alton is closing its doors. What the owner of My Just Desserts has to say about this decision.